sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo.
Hello and welcome everybody. We are back from vacation.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes, welcome to another episode. Tonight we are joined by Dan Gehring
Hello.
from the MMO.
Millennial Media
Yes,
Offensive.
yes, real MMO, whatever.
Real MMO show?
Yeah,
Tell you're a big fan, Tom. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that thing.
Just kidding.
Huge fan.
I'm just sitting here slowly dying. Like it's just a butchered plug.
Yeah, the whole intro is just kind of butchered.
Welcome to
Whatever.
the abattoir.
I'm a little out of practice. We took a day off, and now I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll give you a pass. Good evening, everyone.
Good
It is
evening.
Wednesday at 7:19 p.m. on this fine May 14th, 2025.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us for Restore Christendom.
Yeah, there you go. See, she got it all out for me. I didn't have to do any of that.
Welcome. Happy Wednesday, Will.
Happy
How
Wednesday.
you doing, homie?
Will, another night. Can you guys tell me is everybody's levels good? I think I've about got this worked out.
We figured out where we need to be for guests.
Am I there? Am I leveled?
Yeah, we all. Yeah,
I think you are.
I think
but
we're
Yeah.
good.
That
But-
sounds good to me.
Yeah, it always sounds good on our end, and then I go back and rewatch it. I'm like, somebody was either way too high or way too low. But yes, either way.
That's right. I'm watching the lines dance on the board, and it looks pretty even.
Yeah, Meat says it looks good. It sounds good. So sweet. Yeah, we caught some little fish while we were out there. Nothing to write home about.
Little bitty guys.
But
Heard another night.
yeah, the river was super blown out, like super blown out. So it was tough fishing. We did more hiking than fishing, and but it was a really good trip.
It was nice. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Definitely a spot to go back to.
Yes, for
when
sure.
the river is not all blown out and there's not river blowout debris 10 foot up in trees about 40 feet from the riverbank. Like you walk 40 feet from the riverbank and then you look at the brush line and the trees and stuff. And then about at 10 foot, there's just leaves, littered brown dead leaves and twigs. So it was some water recently came through there.
Yes.
Womp womp.
But then yeah, and on the way home we swung through St. Louis and visited Dan there.
He's much taller in person.
Much taller in person. I
Yeah.
was not prepared for 6'12". What are you 6'13" there, Dan?
Yeah, just about. Now, I was 6'4", but it's funny because everyone has that same reaction when they meet me. They're like, "Holy smokes!"
Yeah,
You're like one of them big Wisconsin boys.
yeah. I wasn't expecting
milk.
Dan to be so big, and I didn't realize there was a nice part of St. Louis either.
Also something we didn't know.
Yeah.
Pulled
It's
up like,
not.
is this
It's
St.
not
Louis?
all Ferguson. You and my parents are both surprised.
Yeah, I was like looking around. I'm like, this can't be. Where are we at?
This is the address he gave me.
And my parents always send me like the daily murder report in St. Louis. They're like, "Oh my God, is this by you?" And it almost never is by me. It's
You're
like
like, "No,
super far
Mom."
north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Mom, that's 45 minutes across town.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So you see how all the windows in that neighborhood are boarded up?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You've visited me. Does that look
None
like my neighborhood?
None of ours are.
No. Yeah, no, it was interesting though. I was like, oh well, there's
And the other thing about your neighborhood is the Jack in the Box right around the corner. We
Oh yeah,
definitely were
Yeah.
envious of that.
yes. I'd be a lot fatter if there was a Jack in the Box around the corner from
Oh,
us.
for sure.
It's when my wife Elise works, and maybe I've had one or two, or
A few.
somehow the good green smoke has found its way into my lungs. It has been something I've gone to once or
Oh
twice late
yeah.
at night.
Oh yeah, in those scenarios where the green smoke is made in your lungs and you've had a few beers, like nothing beats Jack in the Box tacos on those
That's
nights.
right.
Nope.
Get
Nope.
the
Jack in the Box
let the
tacos are
dog in
like
the car.
yeah, Jack in the Box tacos are like a special thing when it comes to when you're a little drunk and a little tuned up.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh
indeed. That was good to
Uh,
have you. I tried Malort for the first time while you guys were here.
yeah,
Um, really
the official
spiced
drink of the
up my
Vatican.
yeah, exactly. I really spiced up my 11:30 Monday morning. So
Right.
I think that was our like fourth shot of the day.
Yeah. Well,
We did.
road sodas are legal in Missouri, so I was like,
yeah,
hey,
Yeah.
yeah,
you can technically do that.
yeah,
There has to be one less open container than people in the car,
right, yes,
so you can
Oh,
claim it's
okay.
not the drivers. So
right,
That's a move.
yeah. That's why you just have a bottle of Malort sitting in the passenger
that's
side
right.
door panel, and we're
My
like, hey,
wife's.
Yeah. I can't get her to quit.
yeah. That's why I'm driving. She's quite the alcoholic officer.
Would you like to try some? Lord.
Sure, I've never had it. Now it had a really familiar feeling. Like the finish of it is like was very familiar, and I couldn't quite place it when I tried it.
Um, the number one familiarity that usually hits people when I say it is stomach bile. You know, the day after being really drunk, and then it's like 1 in the afternoon, and you get rid of that last puke. It's that. That's the taste of Malort.
You know what? Kind of, yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
That
Yeah,
makes a
It
lot of
really
sense.
is.
Makes a lot of sense.
It,
that's
yeah.
that's that familiar
As
flavor.
a as a as a former functioning alcoholic who knows that taste quite well. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly the flavor.
Yeah. So
Every once in a while I'll try to lie and be like, "No, it's more of like a grapefruity taste. It's like a
Grapefruit.
grapefruity rind." You know, just really grapefruity.
like no,
Mm.
that's stomach bile.
Yeah, no, it's definitely stomach bile.
Yeah. So since the last time we were on, we've got a new pope.
We do have a new pope.
And I would just like to say that I called it. What did I say for 2 weeks leading up to it? We'd have a pope by Thursday,
Yes, you did say by
and we had a
Thursday
pope
we
on
would have it.
Thursday.
Yes.
So, ooh, so
Wow.
hit the mic there. So yeah, we got a new pope. A lot of people have mixed feelings about the new pope.
Pretty close.
Some people are saying that he is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and other people are saying he is another Francis II. Um, and I will go on the record right now saying both camps are wrong.
Yeah, definitely not the greatest thing since sliced bread, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I have seen a lot of optimism, cautious
Mhm.
optimism,
Yes.
come out of it, and I've actually come out as a defender of Pope Leo the 14th.
You're picking up the Pope splaining?
Yeah, he's
That's
pope
right.
splaining.
I did it
Yeah.
hardcore last night on MMO
You
Yeah.
did.
against
You did
my
some very
dirty
good
Protestant
defending.
co-host.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the Pope is definitely a lot better than I thought he'd be. When I first heard his name, I was like, because 2 days before, and I had just watched Dr. Taylor Marshall do a video
Sure.
about potential next popes, and Prevost was on his list, and he had not very good things to say about him.
Right. Dark
Now, I will
horse,
say,
worst case scenario.
yeah,
Yep.
I will say though, Taylor Marshall has taken that video down.
I
So
imagine. I saw he
yeah,
put up the "I submit myself to Leo the 14th" video. So
yes, yeah,
Sorry, Taylor Marshall cracks me up in ways that he shouldn't. I just find the man fascinating.
yes.
I
He's got a lot of good things.
I have
But he's also got a lot of bad takes too.
Yeah.
Like everybody though. Anybody in public facing doing a show, they're gonna have some bad takes or have some good takes. You take the good with the bad.
Yeah. My only thing is the whole doctor bit is where I begin. That's where the chuckling starts for me.
Right.
Is like you're taking yourself entirely too serious.
Well, I mean, he spent 40 years getting that doctorate, man. He wants to be called doctor.
And that's fine. He could
The
do that.
Reverend Dr. Marshall.
Reverend doctor, yeah.
Right, yeah. But hello, former Anglican pastor man. Shush.
Right.
Just
That's
take a
right.
seat. Just take a seat. You
Well,
know?
and that's what really got me was all these we call them influcervatives, but like the conservative influencers where, every move is going to either defeat the globalists or the globalists are going to win because of this or
It's
the
a
world's
one
ending.
move. Yeah, it's a one move match. And
Yeah.
this is the
Exactly.
move. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all freaking out. Laura Loomer, Marxist Pope, the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. So, when the secular media starts bashing the Pope, he's probably going to be a good Pope, or
Yep.
he's doing a good job as Pope. When the secular media loves the Pope like they did Francis, he's not a good Pope. He's probably spouting out some heresies here and there.
You know what I found is that goes beyond the Pope. Anything they love is probably pretty bad, and
Yes.
vice versa.
Yes, absolutely. That doesn't go beyond the Pope, but especially with the Pope. Because Christianity's evil unless they're all of a sudden changing course on all their teachings and
That's right.
now becoming just like the world. In which place, the Christianity's great.
Christianity's evil unless it abandons Christianity.
Right.
And then it's fine.
Yes. Ugh.
Totally gut yourself of all your beliefs and convictions. And
But
just
yeah,
be
I'm
worldly.
I know by no means think that Leo is going to turn out to be like a Pope Pius X figure by any means, but you don't go from a guy like Francis to a Pius X overnight. You got to build up, and I think we are turning in the right direction.
I mean, there's a couple of things that Pope Leo has said. So, and I think this is where a lot of the influcervatives, if they're Christian, they're probably Protestant. They're making a comment on. I know Steve Bannon, who's evidently Catholic. I just found that out this week.
Yeah.
He came out and he was all down on Leo and saying it's the end of the world and whatnot. But he's kind of a black pill doomer.
He is a black pillar.
Yeah, these
Doomer
guys make a
boomer.
living off of black pilling people. So.
But what I've noticed is they don't really understand that when you're a cardinal in the church, your boss is the Pope. You submit yourself to the Pope,
right,
and you do kind of the Pope's bidding.
Yep.
So Pope Leo in 2012, when asked about, he just kind of was talking about the church, and he was talking about Hollywood and how they have all of these. They kind of like promote the homosexual lifestyle, the abortion, and they kind of glorify all of these different things. And so he was asked about it again during Francis's papacy, and he kind of gave an answer that would satisfy somebody that was trying to, do a gotcha on him, but also didn't back away from his stance. And I actually do have that clip if you guys would like to hear it.
yeah. Go ahead and share your screen.
Oh, can I share my screen? It's not it's not a video, it's just audio.
Oh, it's just audio.
Oh, yeah, it should
then
come
you
through
should.
then.
Yeah, you can just play it. It should just come through.
Perfect. Yep.
In 2012, the future Pope Leo XIV spoke out against the mass media's promotion of, quote, abortion, euthanasia, and the homosexual lifestyle, unquote. In 2023, after being named cardinal by Pope Francis, CNS asked if his views had changed.
Your Eminence, if I could ask just one question. The last time we saw you was in 2012 at the Synod on the New Evangelization. Your intervention there talked about the various cultural dimensions that menace the church, different interpretations of marriage, etc. Have you, given Francis's leadership, experienced any change from 2012 until now?
Given many things that have changed, I would say there's been a development in the sense of the need for the church to open and to be welcoming. And on that level, I think Pope Francis made it very clear that he doesn't want people to be excluded simply on the basis of choices that they make, whether it be lifestyle, work, way to dress, or whatever.
Just choices.
Doctrine hasn't changed, and people haven't said yet, we're looking for that kind of change. But we are looking to be more welcoming and more open, and to say all people are welcome in the church.
what he says effectively in that is a very very diplomatic and political statement in saying that yes, these people are welcome in the church. However, sin is still sin according to doctrine.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Exactly what you're saying. He's like, hey, we
You
welcome you
can.
people to come here and leave your sinful lifestyles and repent and turn towards the Lord and live that way. You're all welcome to come do that, but your sin is still your sin,
correct.
and you can't receive sacraments while you're living in that sin.
Yeah, I
But
agree. I
you
agree,
know,
and I think
plenty of
that's
people, plenty of
that's
people
kind
show
of
up
what
to
he's
the
going.
church. Yeah, plenty of people show up to the church and don't receive the sacraments because they've either not completed RCI yet, or they're not members of the church. We got a guy at our church who's an Anglican guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's been coming to church for 30 years, never converted to Catholicism, doesn't partake in the sacraments, but shows up to mass every Sunday.
Yep.
It's weird. I don't know why, but
Yeah,
there is some of that though. Like you're everybody's welcome. You just can't receive the sacraments until a certain point. Till you've given up your sinful lifestyle, whether it be your homosexuality or your living in sin in an unmarried relationship, living together, something like that. So, but yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good things so far from the Pope that lead me to believe that he is not going to be a continuation of Francis.
yeah,
Um, and another thing people miss a lot, because people always, when we're talking about church politics, people always try to make it like um, secular politics, and it's just not. There's really is no liberal and conservative in the church like there is in the U.S. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, there's some bishops and cardinals that are probably very Democrat leaning. But when you talk about church politics, you can't look at it through the same lens that you look through the presidential races in. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's where they miss. It's the teachings of Jesus Christ. The Pope is the vicar of Christ,
Right.
a representative of Christ, and Christ is King. And Catholics follow the gospel, so the Word of God, and also Catholic tradition as well.
Yeah.
So it's when somebody like Laura Loomer, who I mean, if you're listening to Laura Loomer, you've got a few problems.
Right.
But when she comes out and says Marxist Pope, it's like you, first of all, have no idea what you're referring to. Second of all, there are teachings where it's basically, Pope Leo the 13th, for instance, how Pope Leo the 14th chose his name. He put out this doctrine. Everyone's like, oh, it's about workers' rights and socialism. In that same document, it flat out rejects socialism. It rejects
Mhm.
communism, and it stands up for personal property rights, but it also stands up against it stands against exploitative capitalism.
Yes.
The whole article is basically making sure that people have Sunday off so they can fulfill their Sunday obligations, their day of rest.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's basically weekends to give people their weekends.
Right. But if
Uh,
you put on your glasses, then it's like, oh, socialism.
right.
Well, and one of the things that I get frustrated with is when you do look at Leo the 13th, and then you also look at Leo the 14th, and then you also look at Leo the 14th as the human being who was born in 19 whatever, grew up in whenever, and like he became a priest in like 1973 or something like
So,
that.
81.
Okay. Yeah, 81, he became a priest. So all of the time before that, he's just a regular Catholic living in the world, right? Whatever the world is doing, the Cold War, the communist stuff, the all the other things that are happening in the world before this man is a priest. And then he joins the priesthood, and then he's a priest, and he's doing all of that, all while the world is doing what it's doing. The thing that frustrates me is the idea of secular, well, first of all, secular idea of socialism and communism is ultimately the usurpation of God, right? Like you take God out of the mix, and then the state or the benevolent leader or whatever is now God. Um, and the idea of just being a decent Christian, loving your neighbor, meeting your neighbor's needs as you are capable of, doing unto others as you'd have done unto you. Just being a decent Christian leads to what may even appear to be a socialist society. But that's not why we don't do that for the socialism. We do it because that's what God wants of us, right? Because we're doing
Yeah.
what we're bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth, and we're doing the teachings of Christ.
Right.
So the idea that the Pope would just want a Christian world, that doesn't make him a Marxist. That
Right.
doesn't make him any of your worldly isms. That just proves that like the world has strayed so far from church teachings.
Yeah.
Because like
No,
if we were to hop in
exactly.
the time machine and go back to like 1950, way back to the 50s. Um, the idea of anything Pope Leo has to say today wouldn't be that far fetched. Should be like, well, duh. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take care of each other. We're supposed to, embrace the immigrant, like just the regular Christian, uh, the Christian living of doing what Jesus told us to do, take care of each other in the ways that I've taken care of you.
Yeah. I mean, hell, you go back 20 years, even the Democrats still believed killing babies was wrong.
Was right,
Yeah.
yes.
Um, I had a thought and I lost it. Oh yeah. So I also back in the day, especially when I go back to the 50s, there was a time when all these things that we talk about, treating people with dignity and taking care of the poor, these are all things the church and the congregation of the church did.
Yeah.
It wasn't it wasn't the government taking money from
It
people
wasn't Red
and
Cross
giving it
and
to, people that are illegally coming across the border who are criminals and this and that and everything. It was the church legitimately helping the needy. Um, it was not supposed to be a
the soup
government and a
kitchens,
state-funded thing at any point.
sorry.
Um, it wasn't until the secular world tried to do away with the church that it was really necessary that the government step in and do these types of things.
Yeah, it's called in economics, it's called the crowding out effect. The
Yeah.
government is the one
Yep.
that does the charity, and they start taxing you because they now have all these expenses,
Doing
and
the
then
charity. Yeah.
right,
Right.
the normal people stop communing with their brothers and sisters in Christ, and instead just pay it directly to the government, who then distributes it, which sounds a hell of a lot more like socialism to me. But whatever.
Doesn't
Right.
it? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So.
Yeah. One of the things that didn't really make me upset about USAID being gutted, and the idea of the Doge investigations looking into these places that get money from the government, is most of those places are completely unnecessary. Any of us, any of the 20 something people hanging out tonight, right now, could start a 501(c)(3. Any of us could do it. And any of us could apply for government grants to fund our whatever made up charity that we just started tonight on the internet, right? Like the system is there to be exploited. And so I don't care if you expose a failing system. I don't care if you expose money laundering, because all that will do is A, hopefully stop the money laundering from the federal government, but then also B, remind regular people that, hey, sometimes you have to be the person to do this. Otherwise, if you're not the one if you're not the one running the charity, some other turd is. Some other turd is running through legal loopholes and applying for grants that they don't deserve, and getting six-figure salaries for a charitable organization. Like that's not actual charity. That's not actually helping anybody. Um
Right.
and then a trickle down of that would be our taxes hopefully getting lowered, and then giving the people that money to actually do something else with it. Right. So like if your state taxes went down, or if your income, like your federal income withholding went down, and you suddenly had an extra, I don't know, $200 a month, would you throw that in the collection plate? Would you give it to a local animal rescue? Would you give it to a local homeless shelter type of situation? Like that puts the power back in the people's hands to actually make the changes that they want to see within their communities.
Right. Personally, I'd just buy more monitors for my setup here.
Yeah, I'd probably spend it on bullshit too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because so like Pope, it's been a really good week because Pope Leo came out and declared Christians as God's chosen people,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and oddly, Trump has now shunned Netanyahu and Israel, and went to all these Saudi nations and gave a speech about the horrors of the neocons and nation builders, pretty much like shaming George W. Bush's, the Clintons, and Obama's foreign policy.
Good. Yeah,
Um,
it should be.
and it's just like I've been filled with like hope. And the way that I explained this to John last night is Francis. he was kind of this performative fella, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in a way.
He's a
I'm
theater
gonna
nerd.
wear the white garment. I'm gonna live in this cottage. Isn't that so noble and humble of me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all this
Right, yeah, if
stuff.
I was gonna write a script for the perfect pope, what would I do? I would
Exactly.
say nice things to the media when they have me on. I would definitely not take a paycheck. I'd live modestly, right? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with those parts of those critiques of Francis.
Yeah. Francis was just a bad pope, and Francis, on top of being a micromanager with poor temperament, he was a heretic. I mean, you can't say he wasn't. A lot of heretical things came out of the man's mouth. Um, and one thing, since we're talking about Francis, one thing I thought you got wrong on your show on Tuesday. And by the way, guys, if you haven't heard it, go to mmo.show, check out episode 169, most recent episode where they talk about the Pope, amongst many other things.
Sean Neo Connery.
Sean
That's
Neil
right.
Connery, yes. But yeah, so check that out after this show if you haven't. It's a good show. You guys will enjoy it. But anyway, you were talking about synodality. And now I don't think that Pope Leo uses the word synodality the same way Francis did. But I will tell you 100% for certain. I mean, I don't have the receipts handy with me, but you can do some looking into this if you'd like.
Sure.
But the Pope Francis's goal with synodality was essentially to get rid of the papacy. He essentially wanted the papacy to be like the English monarchs. It's just ceremonial. It's just, you know what I mean? But he wanted a democracy in the church, more or less, and not really. And I think his ultimate goal, and this is more speculation, this part, but I mean, if you really look into it, it makes a lot of sense. But I think his ultimate goal was to set up the one world religion. A lot of his synodality had to do with bringing in Protestants and Muslims and Hindus and atheists all in and be like, hey guys, look, we can all just kind of agree that there's multiple ways to heaven, maybe, and that like all religions lead to God, and like, but I really believe he was trying to dismantle Catholicism and set up a one world religion. I mean, that's where the trail of breadcrumbs was leading.
Sure. I so synod when I was doing my research into the synodality,
Yes.
Yeah, the synod of synodality.
it seems
Very-
like no one fully understood it.
yeah.
No,
Right.
and that was on purpose. That's why I'm saying it was. But if you really look at the things that Francis said and other higher ups like a Parolin and stuff were kind of doing around the synod, it really, and it even I think it goes all the way back to even Paul VI when he laid down the papal tiara. You know, that was the first sign of we're going to make the Pope more of an honorary kind of position. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it goes back further than Francis. But I think Francis was the one that tried to take it the furthest and the most radical. But I don't think Leo feels the same way about synodality. I think Leo's version of synodality is, like you said on your show, is just sitting around and listening to the people. What are your thoughts? What are your problems? What do you know? What can we
What
do
can we come
better?
to agree on?
Yeah. What is the lady's problem with the way the Catholic Church is right now? We're not necessarily going to listen to you. We're not necessarily going to make any changes because of it. But maybe we will. What is what's your beef?
Right. We're not going to blow up 2,000 years of doctrine because you're sad.
Yeah.
But no, I get that. I had read it was a picture of France reading something effectively saying that it was not a democracy. He said a lot of things,
Yeah.
and you would never say that Christians are God's chosen people because that would be too,
Definitely
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Christian.
There was the things that Francis put out about synodality to save face amongst the church, to not kind of tip his cards too quickly. He didn't want to, he didn't want to give away his hand right away. But if you look at the things he was doing and things that other people were saying, and even things that he was saying behind closed doors, allegedly, should I say? If you look at Francis' papacy, I can't come to any other conclusion than he was literally trying to create a new religion, and kind of dismantle the papacy as we know it.
And I feel like that's kind of why, I credit Neil Jones, Clip Custodian, for helping me return more to the faith. I was a practical agnostic Catholic prior to hearing Neil Jones's testament, or I guess whatever you'd call it, testimony.
Testimony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the testament of Neil Jones.
Yeah.
Um, and then I credit you guys a little bit with kind of making me feel a little bit of pride again in Catholicism. And I think what really tipped it over the edge is Pope Leo. And was last night. It was like a beast was awoken in me. I became a fervent
You were
defender of the
very,
church.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say you were definitely Crusader Dan last night.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I also think maybe being a soon to be father of twins has a little bit to do with your
Yeah.
reignition of your faith.
That's the craziest thing. Yesterday morning, I was laying in bed with Elise before my alarm went off, and I was thinking about her, and I was thinking about the Virgin Mary, Holy Mary, and I know it's probably been said about her before, but it never really clicked with me of her being called the Ark of the New Covenant, which
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's going to sound stupid, but I was thinking about Donald Trump had the Ark of the Old Covenant. He had it like remade. It's this big golden
Mm-hmm.
box. It's
Yeah.
described in the Bible. Um, and it's this big golden box, but it was this because it carried the tablets of the 10 commandments were written on, the literal word of God, right?
Yeah.
Was carried in this box. And then Mary being the Ark of the New Covenant she is carrying the word of God in her belly
Yeah.
for so many
Literally.
years. And
Yeah.
it's like this is like one of the things where there's a big disagreement between Protestants and Catholics in that they think Mary was a good woman, pretty much effectively.
Yeah, just
And
some broad. Just his
right,
mom. Just his
not
mom.
not the mother of God, despite
Mhm.
No.
that literally
Yeah.
being in the Bible.
The Theotokos. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I was looking at my own wife and rubbing her belly and thinking, "My God, you're the ark of the Garing," you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a magical feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, about to be a new father for this first time is definitely something that will bring a man back to his faith.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
right, hearing about twins, it rocks you to your freaking core. You're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God."
Yeah. You don't, there's no throwaway one. I got to do these both at the same time.
Yes, exactly. There's no
It's not
there's
like
no, "Let's see
pancakes,
how the
you know?
first one goes and
Yeah.
see if we like it or not."
No. No. We have a 12-year-old first pancake.
Hmm.
They're you know, pretty sweet. That was a really bad way to explain.
First pancake. We did pretty good for our first pancake.
Pretty good. It's only like burnt right in the middle. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Well,
sweet.
so last night you sent in a, donation. You said it was the feast day of our mother or Our Lady of the
Oh yeah,
Fatima,
Lady of
Fatima.
Fatima. Yeah.
Yep.
Fatima, and I was explaining it to John, and I was like, "Yeah, it's where Mary comes and she exposes herself to people." Oh no, I want that back. Yeah,
I would like to not have said that.
Oh, I'm
exactly.
gonna go pee real fast. Sorry
Yeah.
for the unprofessionalness,
You're
guys.
good. You're
You're
good.
allowed to be unprofessional. This
Yeah.
is just a live show.
Right. Yeah. It's just a
It's
live
no big
show
deal.
with millions
Yeah,
of people watching.
Yeah,
it's
millions.
not peer pressure. It's just your turn.
Right.
Oh, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, be hearing you're gonna be a father, and then it's shocking at first when it's twins, and I got comfortable with it, and then now I'm at this point where I'm just in amazement. I'm
Mhm.
amazed with my wife, and a lot of it starts to really make sense. I'm not one of these women belong in the kitchen, at home type of people, but
Yeah.
there's distinct differences
As a
between.
millennial, why would you be?
Well, but it's not like so stringent like that, but it's this it was like where I all of a sudden started to like care about like the transgender issue about
Mhm.
men pretending they can be women because it's like, no, you're not.
No.
You
You're
cannot
different.
do the one most magical thing a woman can do.
Yeah.
And I never once thought a man was a woman, but I just really didn't
No,
care that much.
well, and it's one of the things that, and this is one of the frustrations I have with our peer group, especially. And I mean, I'll even throw Tom in here, even though he's a little bit older than us, but like the Gen X millennial group, um, If you do not have children, you are living a completely different life than children having people are. And I say that because the mentality that you have as a non-child having person is completely different than the mentality you have as a child having person. And then also, at the same exact time, your experience within the world is completely different. You don't deal with pediatricians. You don't deal with school boards. You don't deal with school registrations. You don't deal with fucking teachers. You don't deal with fucking CPS. You don't deal with this. You don't deal with that. You don't deal with this. You non-child having peoples.
Right.
So, like, you're in a whole different world. You're like living like if we were playing like a game, a video game on a console, you'd be playing in like easy mode. And we're over here playing in like expert mode where they got like assassins sneaking up on you and shit. And
Dan's gonna be playing in
when
super expert mode soon.
That's right.
yeah,
3D chess. That's what
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
playing.
5D chess.
Right.
And so when a certain what for example, like the let's go back to 2017 to 2019 was when most of the crunchy moms were super loud. So 2017 to 2019, mothers across the nation were marching their little happy asses to state capitals outside the buildings, protesting, wanting the right to have the right to not immunize their children. Right? Like I don't want to do this whole 80 shot schedule. It's not no thank you. Just allow me to say no thank you. So 2017 to 2019, moms are out doing all that fighting. And anytime somebody would say something to a non-parent, you get the face of crazy person. Like, why do you give a shit about what doctors are requiring people to put in their bodies? What's that matter to you?
Right.
Well, funny story. I went ahead and made a human body, and so now I have this human body that I have to be responsible for the next 18 years legally. You know, more than that if anything goes wrong. But 18 years legally, I'm responsible for this human body. So I kind of do maybe a little bit have a bit of a give a shit of
Yeah.
what's being forced into human bodies in the country of America. Um, but then 2020 happens, and now suddenly everyone cares.
Yeah.
2021 happens, and now suddenly everyone cares. And suddenly those crunchy moms at the state capitals weren't that crazy. They weren't crazy. They were
Well,
just early because they had someone outside of themselves to worry about.
what's even crazier though is how brainwashed people are into right and left politics. That when 2020 happened, uh, all of a sudden, a lot of these crunchy mom leftists that were against immunization
Yeah,
are now
we're the
screaming and
first
shouting
ones.
that everybody and their child needs to be immunized for COVID.
That was annoying.
Yeah. You don't think science is real? Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, like the same people that were saying it's bullshit 2 years ago are now like, no, you all, yeah, believe the trust of science. Why would Dr. Fauci lie to us?
Trust the science.
I still remember like hippie people talking about chemtrails, like liberal hippie people were like,
Yeah.
the government's doing this, and now it's just straight Alex Jones right wing conspiracies.
Yeah.
I've got my own thoughts about not necessarily chemtrails, but cloud seeding. But I won't get into that. But I want to harken back to what you were talking about the people that don't have kids. What discerning on it, and I spend a lot of time walking and thinking about stuff, walking Ralph around, and it's narcissism. It all boils down to narcissism at the end of the day. They don't want to give up any part of their life at all. And in
Nope.
fact, they'll go on social media and brag about it. And what you realize, what you can see is, sure, you're 27, you're 30, you're still having fun. You did a salsa dancing class on the weekend, but by the time that you're 45 and unmarried, and no one wants to even look twice at you because
You've hit the wall and
you've
forgot
hit
to
the wall,
decorate it. Yeah.
right? You're going to be incredibly lonely. You're going to be incredibly sad, and it's like I wish I could forewarn the future selves. I don't know
Mhm.
if you thought about this. Like, today is fun, but will 10 years from now that same fun that you're having be fun?
Yeah. No. No, it won't.
No, it won't.
No, it won't. The same fun that you had playing beer pong at 19 is not the same fun that you
Yeah,
have playing beer pong at 25,
No.
29, at
Yeah.
it's
35.
sad after a point.
Right? Yeah, like at some point you're just like, I don't even like that game. You know what? I never even played that game. That game was hella gay back in the day. Beer pong champion? Who? No,
Yeah.
no.
So yeah, wow, we got really sidetracked from the Pope with that one.
That's
We
okay.
did.
Not really. I mean, only kinda.
Yeah.
Only kinda.
Um.
What was that about your chemtrails, though? What's up with that?
Cloud seeding, I just think it's raining a lot more than it used to, and it's because all the Middle Eastern countries are spraying aluminum iodide into the air, or silver iodide in the air to
Oh
make
yeah, trying to
seed
get the
clouds.
deserts to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That
know.
makes
I'm sure
sense.
I'm wrong. I'm sure somebody's put out a video debunking my theory already, but I don't care.
Probably not wrong.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
probably
we're
not.
doing it in this country, so why wouldn't they be
Yeah.
doing it there? Like,
Well, I was
Right.
going to say John C. Dvorak has told us several times that way back in his day, they were doing it, and they were saying it was to regulate the droughts in California, and that was like back in the 70s.
right. Yeah, we can get back to places where Dan is wrong.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
I'd,
let's do that. I'm
like
actually
to
excited
back-
for this.
I'd like to circle back to where Dan is wrong.
Okay.
And I'll say, you were 90% spot on yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday.
You, I was 90% spot on, but then there's two spots where I was like, oh, Dan. So yeah, we covered the
Synodality.
synodality,
Yeah.
and you weren't totally wrong, but
It's purposely confusing.
yeah, it is purposely confusing because Francis is trying to upend the church. The only other thing I think you were wrong on was when you said there will be no schism. Although you had a great line after that.
Oh, yes.
Yes. You had a great line after that about the whiny crybaby Protestants, but you weren't. It's not that you were wrong. Steve Bannon was wrong too on that one. So he was saying that with this new pope, he's going to be a Marxist, and the conservatives and the traditionalists are going to schism. That's not going to happen. You're absolutely right on that. That is not going to happen. Where are the traditionalists going to go? They're the ones that actually believe in the true Catholic faith.
Right.
You know what I mean? They can't go anywhere else. There's nowhere for them to bail to.
There's no escape.
They just gotta continue to keep their head down and receive their sacraments and pray for better popes in the future. Like, you know what I mean? They're not going to schism. Who is going to schism potentially is if Pope Leo does not turn out to be this liberal Marxist. The German bishops will schism.
Oh, you think so?
Oh yeah. No, if Pope Leo does not come out and confirm gay blessings and gay sacramental marriage, which he's not going to do either of those, I almost guarantee that. And if he doesn't come out and say that we can start ordaining women, which again I don't think he's going to do, they will schism. They've been threatening for years to schism over these things. And Pope Francis,
Vita sane.
yeah, Pope Francis him and hawed about it, like, oh, I don't know, we'll have to have more talks about it, and like, I don't know, we'll have to have more talks about it. You know what I mean? But still, also kind of putting the feeler out there that this is coming, guys, don't worry. And now that he's gone, and I don't think Leo is going to do any of that stuff. And if he doesn't, they will schism.
Well,
So-
I mean, that would be fine. I'd be fine with that.
Those guys, they're already Protestants anyway. So
Yeah, I thought Germany was mostly Lutheran, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Lutheran, what's another night talking about over there?
Lake Michigan is really low despite the snows and rain this past year. You guys got a lake in Lake
Yeah,
Michigan?
it's because it's all hitting St. Louis.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why Lake Michigan's so low, because all the rivers were blown out this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only other thing I think you kind of could have maybe articulated on a little better, is that
Sure.
no, I don't think that the traditionalists are going to schism. It's not going to happen. If they didn't do it under Francis, it ain't coming now.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's the uber liberals. It's the ones that are already basically Protestant, the Catholics in name only kind of thing, that really should just join the Episcopal Church at this point if they want the things that they're asking for.
Right. There's an Episcopal church down the street, and they've got the trans gay flag out front.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
they do. They're Episcopal.
Right.
They've probably got a lady bishop and a lady priest and a
it's still every Saturday since 2020. They've got a group of 5 very elderly people out there with Black Lives Matter signs. Just like,
Nice.
sweet.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expect from the Episcopal Church, though.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that is interesting. I hadn't considered the progressives part of the schism. Yeah, I was definitely more reacting to Steve Bannon, and again,
Yeah,
it's Steve Bannon cramming the church into his statist political
Political framework.
views.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm more or less busting your balls. I knew where you were going with it,
No,
and
no,
like you
no.
said,
I get
it
you.
was definitely like, yeah, the conservatives are not. I don't even want to call them conservatives because again, conservative liberal doesn't mean much when you talk about Catholics, because things that you would consider liberal is just Catholic teaching. Some things, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I kind of go with the traditionalist and modernist approach when I talk about Catholics. Um, you got your modernists like Francis, um, and like JP2 and anybody after Vatican
Martin.
II, basically. To one point or another, nobody was near as bad as Francis at it, but everybody's been a bit of a modernist since Vatican II.
Well, and that's, I think, speaks to more of what the world has become since
Yeah,
Vatican II, because the world it hasn't stopped doing what it's doing, and there's no restructuring of the world doing what it's doing at any point in time. So, like, as the church made the shift in Vatican II to face the world slightly more, um, the world took that as, oh, we're not doing anything wrong. We could go a little bit further across that line they told us we shouldn't cross.
uh-oh,
And
shots fired by another night.
The German Roman Catholics are pretty lefty and
But
gay.
would
then,
argue that.
but
Yeah.
then,
The based guys 500 years ago got excommunicated by the papists. Yeah, that happens.
yeah, figures a Lutheran would say that.
Yeah, that's all right.
um. Oh yeah, and so that's what's interesting about it, like, the world continues to progress in this way. There's another clip, I don't know where it is, so otherwise I'd play it for you. But there's another clip of a lady talking about, sort of the ordaining of females, and she's talking about the progress of females in society and in corporate America, and so is there a part for ordaining it? And Cardinal Provost at the time, Pope Leo XIV now, effectively responds saying, there is no case where just because of the secular world, women can do this or they can be
Means
CEOs
that, yeah.
in the church. Therefore,
Yeah,
it doesn't change the doctrine. And I think that Leo was very, very strategic and very
Mm-hmm.
political being, not like status politics, but church politics in the way that he spoke under Francis. And I think that his vision is a lot more conservative. I think he's probably even more conservative than Donald J. Trump on most issues, to be
Oh
completely
yeah,
frank
for
with
sure.
well, yeah, well, Donald J. Trump is a Democrat.
you. Yeah,
He's an '80s Democrat.
Well,
right.
and the most consistent feedback slash assessment of character that I have gotten on Pope Leo the 14th is that he's a Catholic. So he believes his Catholic stuff, but he's also a human being. But he believes his Catholic beliefs and his Catholic teachings, and those are things that he doesn't waver on.
Right.
Right? Like he might waver on, something that the church doesn't have a strict dogma on, but if the church has a strict dogma on it, he conforms himself to what the church teaches. And I think that that was something that one of his brothers said, so it might have been slightly biased, but for the most part, I think that that's how a majority of Catholics operate is, yeah, I'm my own human being, I make my own choices and decisions. But if the church has a teaching on something, then I'm definitely going to refer to that before I go thinking I can have some novel new idea.
Yeah, that was his brother Jack or somebody on Pierce Morgan, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Who
Pierce
is
Morgan was trying to nail him on, like, is your brother gonna let women to be
is he
priests?
is
Is
he
he
a
gonna let
woke
us be
pope?
gay? Yeah, is he a woke pope? Like,
And
oh,
then the whole time, so I guess maybe a sidebar, um, this whole woke thing, the woke left and the woke right, and James Lindsay. Did you guys know that James Lindsay is a Catholic?
mm-mm,
Did you guys know that?
No.
no,
Yeah, a lapsed Catholic, but a Catholic
Of course, he's
nonetheless.
lapsed. He's definitely not a practicing Catholic.
Right, yeah,
Right.
he's James Fatboy
As
Lindsay.
someone who is raised Catholic, it's like, oh, stop, oh. You know what I mean? Like, as somebody, like, when you hear that phrase, as somebody that was raised Catholic, you're like, worst take inbound right now.
Yeah, no, I
Right, oh,
know.
yeah.
Anytime,
Yeah.
yeah, as either I was raised Catholic or I went to Catholic school. Anytime I hear
Exactly.
one of those two things, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the worst take ever. This is gonna be the
Yep.
worst non-Catholic take you've ever heard.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
Before you guys left on Monday, I was talking about rad trads or
Mhm.
traditionalists, and you guys
Yeah.
had mentioned somebody's name,
Dr. Anthony Stein.
Yeah, Dr.
Anthony Stein.
Stein.
Return to Tradition is the name of his channel on YouTube.
God, when I was looking at opinions on Catholics on YouTube, I came across Michael J. Matt. You
Okay,
guys familiar with that name?
a
Mm-mm.
little bit.
He does something. He's the editor of the Remnant newspaper,
Yes.
Oh, okay.
and so
Remnant, I believe, is SSPX, right? They're the Sedevacantists, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong.
you'd
with
know
that.
more than I would on that.
I can't remember if they're the Sedevacantists or if they're the like ultra liberals. I think they're the Sedevacantists. They're like
Oh,
the
he's very conservative.
So yeah, so they're the SSPX guys. And he may not be one of those guys, but they're definitely the guys that believe that we have not had a pope since
Pius the
1950. Yeah, basically. At John the 23rd forward, we're all not real popes, illegitimate popes. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was expressing. I mean, most of my clips about Leo came from this Michael J. Matt
Okay.
fellow, and he was expressing great, like, cautious optimism behind him, and really in big defense of Pope Leo at the time. And so that's where a lot of my calm has come from. From these,
Yeah.
I started following a bunch of Catholic channels or a bunch of Catholic accounts on Twitter, and they all
Yeah,
seem to have that same. Let's
I
give the
was
guy a minute.
feeling, yeah, I got that hopeful optimistic a little sooner than some of the people I watch. I don't know what it was about him. I knew going in Provost was probably going to be a bad choice because of some of the videos I'd seen from like Taylor Marshall and stuff. And so when I first heard the news, I was like, ugh. But then I was like, well, he chose Leo the 14th. He's out there in the traditional vestments. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of just like, I don't know. Let's give it a shot. I kind of got hopeful, optimistic, and then I started seeing. Do you know who Kennedy Hall is?
I'm not
Oh,
familiar.
Kennedy Hall is another really good Catholic. I don't want to say I don't want to use the word influencer, but he's got a YouTube channel. He puts out anywhere from 10 to hour and a half long videos, 10 minutes to hour. You know, they vary, but he's got.
Canadian.
He's Canadian. Yep.
Yeah, he is
That's good.
Canadian.
He is Canadian, but he's another really good one, especially if you're looking for hopeful optimism from a real trad guy. He's a good one right now. And then, like I said, even Dr. Anthony Stein, who is always the sky is falling. His show is Return to Tradition, and he is always like everything Francis. Every time Francis opened his mouth, it was doom and gloom. You know what I mean? He was like, "Oh, the heresies," and it's not that he was wrong, but it's like, bro, like give us a break every once in a while with the doom and gloom. You know what I mean? But even he came out in the last couple of videos and was like just very optimistic about things for Pope Leo. So
I'm in the more simple-minded camp of it's the Jubilee year of hope, and my God is good.
yeah,
You know, he's not gonna take away one father and give us another worser one. That's not gonna happen. Not in the Jubilee year of hope.
well,
Maybe on a different year, but not this year. Not this year.
Yeah, and I have to imagine that Pope Leo saw the divisiveness that Francis caused almost unconcernedly, and
Yeah.
is now become this moderate, more centrist pope. You know, if he came out and he was like MAGA baby, woohoo, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
It would alienate the
They'd be
other
like,
side, and it's like
Yeah.
that's
don't do
not
that.
what you want. You want the guy
Yeah,
that's in
we
the
don't want
middle,
that.
that's
Yeah.
going to bring us together, that's going to remind us what it's all about, which is Christ Himself.
Yeah. There's only two things I really expect from Pope Leo, and if he upholds the two things, I will be his biggest supporter ever. Like, I mean, he's the Holy Father, so I'm going to support him to an extent. Even Pope Francis, I always gave the benefit of that doubt until it was put right in front of my face, and I couldn't deny it anymore. And I was like, all right, yeah, that's not what the Pope should be doing or saying. So you know, as a Catholic, it's just he's the Holy Father, so you always kind of give him the benefit of the doubt or
Respect for their
or
position.
respect for it. Yes. Definitely respect for the position, but I lost my train of thought already.
The two things he's got to
Oh
do.
yeah, the two. My mind's not here right now.
It's the malort. It's
Yeah,
the bile.
the two things. If he upholds Catholic doctrine and dogma and just sticks by what is true and honest and faithful, and homosexuality is a sin, and no, we can't ordain women, and yes, we are an inclusive church, but you leave your sins behind and you follow Jesus. That's what Jesus said. Like, follow me. You know, so if he does that and then lifts restrictions on the traditional mass and tradition in general, if he does just those two things, I'll be happy. I will definitely be a vocal supporter of the Pope, and it'll be a great feeling just to feel like you have a Catholic Pope again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or at least a Christian one.
Right. At least the
Or at
Pope.
least a Christian one.
It's just, I don't know, Francis. Even though I wasn't even really fully Catholic under Francis, up until like the last week of his papacy or whatever, like it felt like I had a pope that did not like me very much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Right.
and then also in the world, you're basically on defense because he makes flippant statements of, well, all paths lead to God. And then you, as the Catholic, who's like, no, this is the one true, holy, and Catholic and Apostolic Church. This is it. This is the real deal. And then somebody hits you with the, oh, well, Francis just said. And
Yeah,
you're
the
like,
Pope says
"God
otherwise.
damn it."
Yeah.
But it's not, I know what he said, but that's not what the church says.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
the
not what
head
the
of the church.
2,000 years of the church prior to him said at all.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, that's the kind of the thing too, where it is with under Francis. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. I almost never think about other Christian religions, and I almost never have like critical thoughts of other Christian religions. They believe in Jesus. They follow their religion. I'm fine with it, and it's just so funny because it feels like you know I think as white people, we'll probably understand we're supposed to be on top of this social hierarchy. So it's fine to throw stones at white people because they're
Oh, yeah,
they're
you're all
the
the way up there.
they're their privilege. And I think
Mhm.
it's the same thing with Catholicism. And it's kind of funny when the Protestants are always like, you worship idols and you do this. And it's like,
Idolaters.
it's funny because I never think about you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I never think about your practices
I
or
never
what you
once
believe in.
consider if you guys use Welch's or
Yeah.
store brand grape juice.
Exactly. Like it's really not even a remote concern in my heart, but I'm so
Sure.
glad
Have
that
fun
we
over
occupy
there.
so much time in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree with that. I spend very little time thinking about other Christians, and every once in a while, because it is too easy and too much fun, I will, especially on the show, play some clips of some of the more far out there Protestant priests and priestesses saying the most ridiculous off the
Oh,
wall.
we've got some we could pull up.
Yeah, just the most ridiculous off the wall anti-Christian things you could, saying that in this passage of the Bible, Jesus was wrong. You know what I mean? I've heard things like that come out of these Protestant pastors'
Yes.
mouth, and I'm like, wait, what? Jesus
think
was wrong?
I think Jesus got it wrong on this one,
Yeah,
and I would know.
Yeah. Me, lady pastor, and all of my non-existent apostolic succession would know.
I mean,
yeah,
I'll even say I'll give it to the ladies in this one. There's probably guy pastors that are even more extreme and random than some female pastors.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. We've seen the televangelists
yeah.
over the years.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I said to that hair grow.
I
Or
can't.
whatever that one guy said.
I think it's that same guy when
Yeah.
asked about his private jet, and he's like,
Oh.
"If Jesus were alive today, he'd take a private jet."
Right, you think Jesus is flying around with the plebs and coach? No, he's got.
No,
Jesus didn't want me to have this private jet. He wouldn't have given it to me.
exactly.
All
Oh.
those people wouldn't have been moved to send me their money.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's the extent I think about Protestantism is when it comes across my news feed on Twitter and I see the ridiculous things they're saying. And I'm like, oh, I should share this with people. Look how dumb these people are.
Yeah, it's usually a Protestant that's got something to say about the Catholic Church that even remotely piques my radar. And I was like,
Yeah.
I wish I could criticize something about your religion, but I don't know about it because it's only existed since last Thursday.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and it's funny too because like you can't even say, "Oh, your Protestants have only been around for 500 years," because like no, they haven't. The Protestant religion, as we know it today, has been around for maybe 100 at the most.
Right.
Like if you look at like what is another night's probably about to prove my point right here.
Yeah.
Then y'all will find this traditional
Augsburg.
Augsburg confessional Lutherans are more similar than different. There are still some differences, but we agree on 95%. And he's right. We've had another night on the show a couple times talking about this stuff. And that's the thing though, because he's a traditional confessional Lutheran. They believe in the Theotokos. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they believe in the veneration of Mary. They believe in confession. They believe in the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. A little differently than we see it, but still believe it's the real presence.
Well, my best friend's Lutheran.
Yeah.
He's
like
never called me. He's never called me an idol worshiper, and I've
Right.
never
No.
called him a heretic.
Yeah. And that's same with us with another night. But like it's just funny because people who claim to be the descendants of the Martin Luther Reformation don't believe any of the things that they believed in.
None of them.
None of them do. None of them,
They believe this, that the average Catholic basher on the internet is some Pastor Jimothy College Bible, Schofield evangelical, some version of Zionist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then
The Jews are actually God's chosen people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just always forever gonna be second fiddle to them Jews.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine with us. If we say the sinner's prayer, we're good.
Hey, Matthew's one of my favorite books, but there's the parable of the vine grower,
Yeah.
where effectively they talk about the old covenant is finished now because you've rejected the Savior that was sent to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. People will be here. This will be probably the 500th time I've said this on the show. But when it comes to the modern day Christians who are like, oh, I believe in God, so I'm going to heaven. I don't need the sacraments or confession, or I don't need to do this or do that. I just need to believe in God. I'm like, well, cool. The devil believes in God too. You know what I mean?
That's all right.
Is he going to be in
It's
heaven
true.
with us? Satan believes that Jesus is the Son of God. Where's that getting him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was Leo himself again that said something about there's something special waiting for people that think they can follow Christ in their own way,
Right.
without the body, which is pretty much a Catholic supremacist type statement, as you would
Yes.
expect
Definitely
a
a
Catholic holy man to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Catechism says there's
Yeah.
there's no salvation
no
outside the
salvation.
Catholic Church. So why
Right.
would the Pope say otherwise?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I hope for most is just the clarification of existing church teachings. Don't do any of these. Oh, well, I'll phrase it this way in front of this group and I'll phrase it this way in front. Just say the thing. Just say the thing. I don't care who it upsets. I don't even care if it upsets me. I don't really care. I'll be all right. I'll get over it.
Right.
Just say the thing that the church has said for thousands of years. Just stick to that.
Yeah. If people aren't happy about it, don't let them not be happy about it. Yeah.
Right.
But-
So I made the statement last night that Catholics follow the gospel and tradition.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that?
Yeah, we've got both.
Yeah. And so that's always the big thing. Because I remember one time I worked. You guys have Cousin Subs up by you?
No, we do
No.
not.
Oh,
Cousin Subs, no.
it
Sounds
was a chain. I don't think it was very big. My wife has never heard of it either. But that's where I used to work when I was in high school. And there's like this couple that came in and gave me one of those $1 million bills with a Bible passage on the back.
Those people are the worst.
I know. So I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks. Yeah, I'm Catholic." They're like, "Oh, well, keep reading your Bible." Exactly.
They're like, we literally read 3 passages of it every mass, but
Right.
yeah, I'll keep reading it. Don't worry, I
Yeah.
read the whole thing in 3 years, but it's fine. I'll keep reading it.
Yeah.
I'll keep reading it. Don't you worry.
Oh.
That's
So
one.
another.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
go ahead. No, go
I was,
ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, it's like the something of bishops, the Council of Bishops. If you type in daily readings
Oh yeah.
into Google, I do that every morning, and it's just a good way to start the day. Yeah, the USCCB.
USCCB. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Divineoffice.org is also a good one for your daily readings, there's a fun feature on there that it's got like a little globe on it and it's got little points of light. And so whenever you go to divineoffice.org and if you accept all the cookies and whatnot, you turn into a little light on the globe. And then it tells you how many thousands of people are praying with you at that time.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I like
I
that
like that
stuff.
one. Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
one. That one's the one that I'll go to if I wake up between the hours of 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. And I'm like, you know what, God, somebody's supposed to be praying at this shift. Don't worry, it's me. I'll do it.
Right.
And I hop on to divineoffice.org and I'm like, I'll be one of these little lights with the other 800 people praying at this time.
Yeah. The other thing I want to cover tonight while we've got Dan here, since he's the political guru,
Ooh.
Sure.
because this kind of falls, and I think you guys touched on it. If I remember right, you did kind of touch on this in your show, because you played a clip and somebody was saying that, Pope Leo was elected Pope as an American liberal to combat Trump. And it's like, do you think the Catholic Church really cares about combating Trump? Trump's going to be president for 4 years. This guy's going to be Pope for 20. You know what I mean? Like, combating Trump had nothing to do with electing the Pope.
Exactly. Especially such a young Pope as well.
Yeah. It's just it's mind-boggling that this is how people think everything is American politics. Everything. They think the world revolves around American politics. It's hilarious.
Oh, it's like the social justice, the person that studied, racial injustice in college. Everything's racist. You know what I mean? Everything is, every action you take comes because there was some oppression or you were the oppressor.
Yeah.
And now naturally you feel threatened around black people and that
Yep.
kind of stuff. And so everything that you say is because of your
unconscious
ancestry.
biases.
Yeah. And your unconscious bias. It's when you wear a certain shade of glasses and that's how you see the world. Now everything has to fit into your oversimplified model of the world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's like I said, when the only tool you have is a hammer, everything becomes a nail.
That's right. Exactly. Correct.
Ugh.
Our last RCIA class was social justice, and I definitely rolled my eyes when I saw it on the schedule. I was like, ugh, ugh. But then I was like, oh, wait, no, just kidding. Catholic Church had social justice before the seculars took it and was like, how can
And
we mess
bastardize
it up?
Yeah. Catholic social justice is not the social justice of today's America.
No, it's not.
No, it's like feed a hungry person,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's funny because
Trip
I
to
have
El
my
Salvador and feed a hungry kid a meal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have my little thing in front of me. And like one of the things on here, I'm gonna try to find it so I can read it. Was they gave like the example of working in a restaurant, and if we pooled our tips, okay, here we go. Merit, egalitarian, entitlement, imperial, and contractual agreements in society, right? It's got the different breakdowns and stuff. And it's essentially Catholic social justice is just do unto others as you'd have done unto you, and meet needs you are capable of meeting. Give God what is God's, and give Caesar what is Caesar's. It's
Yep.
really like it's just those three things. It's just those three simple things are the little pillars of Catholic social justice. Um, and it's not nearly as complicated and convoluted as the secular world knows it, and that makes me a little sad. But then I also settle back into, well, anything good is going to be inverted and subverted and bastardized.
Yeah.
Agree.
That's kind of what the world does is they take the church and bastardize it to their own needs, and then we're the bad guys for being like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, he's gonna butt heads. He's gonna burn heads with Trump. This
Yeah.
headlines were great.
Like the Pope's
Well-
not even a politician. What's he gonna do with Trump? You know what I mean?
Well, so one thing that we called yesterday on the show, just kind of talking about how the media continues to still fit things into the narrative. Al Jilani was this leader of Hayat Talib. HTS was basically the name of a terrorist group that existed, and they overthrew Bashar al-Assad in Syria,
Mhm.
and they were backed by the Turkish people. So Tayyip Erdogan in Turkey is who armed them, and they overthrew al-Assad. And this happened just months ago, and the mainstream media was like, "Awesome! Let's talk about how evil Assad's regime was, and really pump up this guy, this young leader Al Jilani, as the head of the new Syrian government. He's great. He's awesome." So this week, Trump is over in the Middle East, effectively just bringing peace to the entire region
Right. Yeah.
in a couple of signatures, which is amazing what's going on right now. If you're not paying attention, not you guys, but everyone
It's like
that's
the
listening, you should
yeah,
be.
it's like the Abraham Accords on times 2.
It's almost biblical at this
Yeah.
point. The things that Trump has been doing by rejecting Israel and then moving to stabilize the Middle East himself without, you know, destabilize or overthrowing regimes.
Yep.
Um,
Right.
Just sitting down at tables having conversations.
so the U.S. has a bunch of sanctions on Syria and did since Assad was in office. And so Trump today said he's going to remove all sanctions off of Syria. Now, I looked into al-Jilani when he first overthrew Syria and realized that he was effectively probably a CIA asset. We had him locked up in
Hmm.
Guantanamo Bay and Abu Ghraib
Oh, sweet.
for about 10 years. And then randomly he gets released and randomly he's starting new Al Qaeda branches in Iraq, right?
Right.
And so he's this terrorist group. So Trump, and they said nothing about this when he overthrew Assad. And so Trump today removes all sanctions in Syria and meets with al-Jilani, who's now under a different name, al-Shara, um, but it's the same guy. And all of a sudden, Jake Tapper, Trump, in a bromance with a jihadist, and they're going through this
Yeah.
guy's past, and it's just like that is the fake news, and that is ideology, and that is what is absolutely blinding the American people. Is now it matters that he was at once a jihadist or a terrorist
It
organizer.
didn't yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't matter nary 3 weeks ago, 5
Exactly.
weeks
Now,
ago, whenever
if
he
Trump had
was
come out and said something against him and be like, "We're going to destroy it," the news would have come out and be like, "This
Yeah.
reformed jihadist who is now a leader of a country and doing his best to help his people,
If
and Trump is going to destroy it." You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
and people wonder why the people wonder why podcasters are now have a larger audience than the mainstream media.
right, yeah,
well,
It's
it's
dumb.
I mean, if we're gonna I guess the way that I look at it is if I'm gonna listen to nonsense and possibly be lied to, I'd at least like it to be entertaining
yeah,
or at least a parasocial homie. I don't actually know these people, but I kind of know these people. I know these people more than I know Rachel Maddow
yeah.
or Bill O'Reilly.
If I want to hear people talk about stuff they have no clue about, I'll listen to MMO. I don't need to listen to.
There you go.
I don't know.
You get to hear us invent new words like Neo
Yeah,
Connery.
yeah.
Neo Connery. Sean Neo
Neo
Connery.
That was a good one.
Oh no! Everybody check out MMO show. It's a great show. I'm just busting his balls.
Yeah, I know. I
Um,
appreciate it. I
yeah,
love when people talk shit.
yeah. Oh,
It can't be too bad. His wife supports it.
yeah,
She
yeah,
does. She's a wonderful
I
lady.
use his money to support it, so
yeah.
I can't hate it.
And I tell every week, stop giving my money to these people, bitch.
No,
It's
no.
great. Yeah, she is a praetor. We gave her a Roman Empire title on
All
our
right.
show.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're the praetor of what?
Praetor of the Peoria Diocese
Okay.
or Pumpkin Country.
Okay.
I went with the Peoria Diocese. That was a me choice. I didn't know if we were just going like map regions, but being the super Catholic that I am, I was like Peoria Diocese. is mine.
Right.
You're the praetor over it now. That's your
Yeah.
title.
I'll fight whoever decides they're gonna take the
It's a big
Peoria
diocese too.
I know it's a big diocese.
You got your work cut out for
You got the backing of about 5,000 internet weirdos. So there
Right.
you go.
My time is coming.
That's right.
Oh man.
Oh yes, the Manosphere show MMO where only women are praetors.
Oh, did you see? This is a fun one. And so this is going to be but I got an email offer from this lady today. She runs this thing called Think Right PR, and her
Okay.
name is what's her name? Kristen. I'm so bad at remember. Kristen Davis is her name, but she used to be Roger Stone's slam piece.
Oh,
Roger Stone, and she runs this
Roger
PR
Stone,
firm now.
the Roger Stone who goes live at 4:20 p.m. every day. Roger
Yeah,
Stone.
that Roger Stone,
That Roger Stone.
his old buddy of sorts. Uh,
His old
has a
Twitter
PR
pal.
firm. That's right. And she wanted me to interview this guy that does crowds on demand. So basically, like, you got an issue and you want people to show up for it. His company supplies people.
So like flash mobbing meets Antifa?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
flash
protest
mobbing,
empire,
except everyone shows up with abortion rights now sign.
yeah,
Interesting.
Like, yeah, that'd be perfect for your show where you guys don't have interviewers and love abortion, obviously.
Well, I was just about to say, because you've totally listened to the show and understand that we
Exactly.
have never, not once in the history of ever had a guest.
Right.
And we definitely do not have conversations about what people do with tiny people bodies and other people bodies.
Hmm.
That's not really a topic that we discuss over at MMO.
So,
It sucks.
but it could be.
well, that's exactly right. So we decided today that I'm going to interview him, and we're pretty much going to control him.
No way.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It'll be a good
That's
time.
You're just gonna attack the guy,
hilarious.
just like
I don't think we'll attack him. I'll get what valuable insight there is from him, and then I'll ask him these more personal questions about his inauthenticity
Right.
and what he feels like he's doing for American public discourse on politics.
right.
Sweet.
How are you helping the world, sir?
Exactly. Exactly.
What would you say you do here?
Yeah.
That's one of the questions. So I was workshopping questions in the group, and John actually suggested, "Why are you here?" It's one of the things. Like, what benefit do you get out of being here and letting us know your business model?
Right.
Yeah, I was
So why are you gay?
I was doing so I think I was like
That was also
unloading
in there.
Yeah.
I was unloading the dishwasher and I saw a message in the war room in the war cabinet I don't know in the group chat, and I saw John and it said like 8 period and then like words, and I was like 8 a part 8 of a text. John, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I'm assuming that was the list of questions he had.
that was a call for questions. My real goal is to have this interview and then actually convince Kristen Davis to come on the show. You
Okay.
guys, I will send you guys a photo of this lady.
Send me her
I
contact information. I'd love to have a PR rep on.
Yeah.
I'll
there
do
is
it.
not there's not a lot of that's real about her
Yeah.
appearance.
Oh,
Yeah. I'll
alright.
bet. I will bet. Well, first of all, she's a female with a job, so that's red flag number 1.
That's
Mm,
right.
she's got her own money.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure she looks.
She's uppity. She thinks she's on equal level with men, so
Mm,
that's a red
she
flag.
probably sucked a few bucks out of Roger Stone.
Yeah.
just a couple. 1 or 2 surgeries worth.
She got a couple deposits from him, you know what I mean?
Oh gosh.
You can follow her on Instagram at Manhattan Madam, where she used to be a exclusive escort in Manhattan.
All
Yeah.
right.
Is
Sounds
that
like a
really
classy lady.
is that really the future for these OnlyFans girls to be
Yes.
PR firm people?
Conservative PR people.
See,
You know, you come out with some duck lips, and the conservative men are like, "Yes, I love
Yeah.
that. That
Yeah,
looks good."
there's not a whole lot of conservative about most conservative men nowadays.
No, it's true.
I mean, the whole conservative
conservative
movement
just
is
means
just
that they're
like,
not sodomites.
yeah, like what are you conserving at this point? You know, like,
They've
Women don't have penises. You are a Republican. Congrats.
yeah, that's where the bar is at these days. Yes, we shouldn't allow anybody to just enter our country whenever they want, and women don't have penises. That makes you a conservative nowadays.
Republican.
Yeah, yeah,
Unlike my boy Kim here.
yep.
Supreme leader.
Sis. Well, I think it's about time to wrap it up for the night. I got to work in the morning, and it's getting late. So
8:40 p.m.
yep. So thanks for coming out. Why don't you tell everybody again where they can find you, Dan?
Yeah, if you go to mo.show, we're live every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Although I hop on the stream around 5. I play some copyright-free streams, covers that sound just like the original, but they're not copyright protected. So come on out and listen to them, and we'll get the ball rolling at 5:30. We break down the news, and it's always a good time. We always like to make fun of the media and the elites.
Yes,
It is a good time.
it is. Yes, it's a good show. Everybody should definitely check it out.
It is a lot of fun if you participate in the live show and you go into the chat room and do some shatting.
Shat on us.
Yeah, shat on them.
We call it
While
the
they're
shat room.
But no, I really like it. I do genuinely enjoy the show. It is a suitable supplement for news. I I'm a millennial. And so I've been watching like fucking news since I was 11 years old, since those planes went into the buildings. And then everything was terrible and it's never been good since.
Yep.
But at some point you realize that like it's just fear porn and it's 24 hours of bad news all the time. And your mental health just can't take watching the news all the time. Number one, it's detrimental to your mental health. And number two, humans weren't meant to process that much information. We just weren't. We used to be lucky to meet like 500 people in our lifetime. And now almost everyone has like 1,000 friends on the internet. And then you're exposed to thousands more people. So MMO is a nice substitute
Yeah.
for
They've come a long way.
news stuff.
They've come a long way. They've definitely grown into it.
Yeah.
They're
They're a
their
good
takes
team.
are much better now.
Yes.
Some of them.
Man, most of them are better than they
Most
were a
of
couple
them.
years ago.
That's
Most of them
true.
are better than when they used to be. Yes.
A couple years ago, and I'll be honest, a couple years ago, I used to not like your guys' show very much because, and I can't think of off the top of my head, but I feel like okay, they've got the right information and they're coming to the wrong conclusion sometimes, or they got the wrong point out of this information. The information's all right, but they've come to the end point and it's not quite accurate. It's not the right place.
I'm not going to fight you on that. I never go back and listen to it. And when people find out about it, they're like, oh, where should I start? I go at the most recent one. And if you like it,
Few
go
days
back
ago.
to the next one after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just work your way back slowly.
Yeah.
Don't go to 1 or 2. Don't do that.
Don't go to pre-10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also not a political junkie like I used to be too. So it was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I used to have like this really curated feed of excellent political sources, and I just knew about everything that was going on the second it was going on. And it's like sometimes I'd hear your show and I'm like, oh, this is like 4-day-old information. The whole story's changed already. You guys don't know this yet.
Well,
There
you
was
know,
a couple of times and I was just like, Thomas, stop it. You could do your own show. You could do this.
and
But
here you are.
Yeah, but I'm not plugged in like that anymore because I don't care about secular politics anymore. I care more about the church nowadays. So
I'm with you. I'm kind of that way about status politics. Like when we're just talking about left and right in the U.S., my
Yes.
eyes glaze over. I'm all about global happenings, global politics. Way more interesting.
But yeah, I feel like your guys have. I mean, you've really found your niche. You're doing really good nowadays. I find very few things to complain about.
That's good. That's good. Although we do appreciate constructive feedback. So if you ever got something that I missed, send me an email, shoot me a text. You got my number.
I just gave you 2 tonight on the show where you
There you go.
missed a couple things.
Well, I'm not going to go back and tell John that he might have had a point on anything. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
it'll stay on the show.
Yeah, we don't need to go doing that.
Yeah, schism is possible, but not in the way you guys were thinking.
Right.
Yes. So yeah, it was correct. Like I said, the information was right. You get to the wrong every once in a while. But no, as a whole, I think you guys do a great show. I do like your show. It's people should definitely check it out. Anybody watching this, I know the other stuff you guys normally like to listen to, and you would definitely enjoy MMO.
Pretty much all of our people would enjoy it.
Yeah.
It would. That's why I make the point to say it's a good news supplement because I know that nobody specific is coming to mind, but I know people watch like Tim Pool, and sure for every
The
day.
boomer whisperer.
Right.
Yeah.
Boomer.
The beanie douche.
I can't
Beanie
believe
Boy.
I used to listen to Tim Pool on the regular.
Every day. Every day we were waiting for it to go live.
Yeah. I can't believe I used to like take that guy seriously.
And to answer the Nether Knight, it is MMO Show. There are 2 Rumble channels, but you want MMO Show.
Yes. Or you can just go to rubyridge.lol.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Randy Weaver,
and-
patron saint of the show.
Yeah.
Yes. Dan is technologically savvy enough that he has his own website where he hosts audio only on there. So if you wanted to go directly to the website, mmo.show or rubyridge.lol, You can get the show there. Also available on all major podcasting apps and
That is correct.
podcasting 2.0 apps.
The future of podcasting.
All right. Are you almost done plugging the show?
I think I've got all the plugs in.
You got them all in? Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, Dan. Well, thank you very much for coming out.
course.
It's been a pleasure having you on. We'll definitely have to do this again in a few weeks, a month, or whatever. I like having you on as much as humanly possible, to be honest.
I appreciate that.
I think the viewers enjoy having you here too. So,
We haven't gotten any emails that says don't bring that guy back.
no, and looking at the live numbers, we always do better when you're here. So,
That's true.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, there's usually about an extra dozen or so hanging out.
yeah. But yeah, it's always a pleasure, and it was a pleasure meeting you in person on Monday. We'll have to definitely do that again for a longer period of time.
Sidebar from meeting you in person. Your wife is so cute. I don't know.
I know.
No offense to you, but like I don't fully understand that. I don't have to understand that. I don't have to understand it at all. I don't have to. But she's very cute. You have a very cute nurse Elise.
Well, I know a lot about world events, and so I'm well endowed in that sense.
That's what your global politics is. What won her.
Yeah, that's
She's
right.
like, oh man, that's a guy with a big brain. I like it.
Yeah.
You know what they say about big brains?
That's what I
Large
want.
pillow indents.
Yes.
They'll give you twins.
Give you twins. Yep.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Dan. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for
and
having me.
we will see you again shortly. Everybody else, thanks for coming out. We appreciate you guys viewing. God bless everyone. Have a wonderful night.
God bless you guys.
All right, we will see you on Sunday,
Yes, and I'll be back Friday.
and she'll be back Friday. So have a good evening, everybody. Good night.
Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo.